it's a marathon, not a sprint. It is always a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And we
Yep.
we act like we can sprint, we as a society, not you and I, but we act like we can sprint constantly and that it's never going to keep up with us and or catch up with us. And we know our bodies keep the score. We know that we were not designed to operate in stress all the time. We were designed to go up and down.
If you've got a team that they are showing up for Saturday and Sunday calls, they don't like it.
Right? If you're going to burn them, you're going to churn them and you're going to get new ones. And one of the biggest gifts I think that I've received in the last few years is really understanding how to how to scope and understand capacity around this is what we're trying to do and this is what we actually have time to do.
Okay, Karen, here we are.
Yeah.
To break down our episode with Brad Wallace. So I'm
So really to break it down with you.
Break
Yet
it down.
again.
Yes.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. So
You just held up your sticker, so.
oh, did I? Oh yeah. Let's break it down. I'm like Elsa and I don't remember Gail, and we are going to go into the unknown. Quite
Sticker was a gift.
It was a gift.
You
We
were
are going to drop off today. And
Beautiful.
yes.
So sweet.
Yeah. So let's go into the unknown.
Let's go to the unknown. You're like, tell. All right. So the first thing I'll say, and you'll appreciate this. I'm listening and I'm going, are we going to talk a lot about team sports? Because MaryAnn knows that this is not my area of expertise. More talking about teeth. I'm like, oh, we're going to use a lot of sports analogies.
Lots of sports metaphors.
Lots of sports metaphors. I'm like, oh no.
Right now, Karen, you're up at bat. So from out swinging.
I was glad that you covered this and that I know that I'm okay and that my children will be okay in spite of the fact that that we all did individual sports.
That really didn't trigger me though. And I'm like, yeah,
I know. Well, because you come from a team sport background and I know how much a part of your story that is.
yes.
And so I enjoyed that you brought it up so that I could be like, okay, Brad says we're all going to be okay.
Yeah. Like, all right. Okay. We got this. Yeah.
So I was like, yep, team sport played by individuals in business. I get it. I was here for it. But you know what? I did enjoy this idea of the corporate athlete and working at your body's best physical state and what you said about it, right? So in the conversation, I think Brad had brought it up and then you had said, it just sounds so much better than self-care. Self-care sounds soft and self-care sounds optional and self-care sounds like I'm eating bonbons on the couch. But when we talk about the corporate athlete and being able to perform at your maximum levels, and that means caring for, your total health holistically, I'm like, that's the language we got to use. That's the language that resonates.
That's right. Well, and I think since that time, I was reading about LeBron James and how, and like the science of his rest. Like he will sleep like 14, 16 hours. He spends millions of dollars a year on rest and like the science of rest and restful activities. And look at the longevity of his career.
Yes.
So
it's showing that the language, one language matters, right? But maybe the language up to this point that is usually used in that discussion is not resonating for people and helping them to see the importance of those things. So I was like, okay, there is a sports reference I can get behind.
Yeah.
The corporate athlete.
Oh my gosh.
We're operating at our optimal physical state.
Yes.
By engaging in rest and the other behaviors that are going to help make us successful. It just sounds better than self-care.
Well, and you know what it's making me, it's like, this is part of marketing, right? So we're doing so much internally right now we've got one program, but we've got several audiences that we want to talk, that we think would find value in this program. And I have to talk about it differently with the different audiences. And I'm imagining, groups that respond, like tons of people are talking about self-care, right? And go get your nails done, take a bubble bath. Well, the CEO investing in self-care is not interested in that message. Right. And so, and that reminds me too of a lot of Gen Zers coming into interviews and conversations saying, tell me about the work-life balance in your organization. The person hiring you is theoretically interested in your work-life balance, right? If they're evolved and they know
Theoretically.
theoretically, and they know, like, we know we want you to have that to be your best and be a corporate athlete. And also, I don't want that to be the forefront of your mind. I want it's like we have work-life balance so that we can be our best and so that we can deliver value to the organization. So it's like
Yeah.
vision orientation. First things first. The vision is not for you to be well rested. The vision is for you to accomplish these things, and
Right.
being well rested is one. And so it's like it's flipping. It's not rest for rest's sake. It's for what it allows us to do and be.
Right. Right. And absolutely. And different people have to have those conversations in different ways.
Mhm.
And even how you approach the conversation, right? So when I was doing a lot of interview coaching and working with people in transition points in their careers, we would talk about how do you ask about things related to the team. And I would just say, ask what the team norms are,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Because what you're wanting to understand is how often do people go into the office? How often, what are the hours like, right? But it's a way to ask that question and understand what that looks like and understand the personality of the team to assess if it's a fit, right?
Well,
But in a way that doesn't sound like a way that doesn't have a stigma around it. Because
or
here we are right now.
what do I have to do to work here?
Yeah. How often do I have to be here? Or if you wouldn't work all the time. And I'm just saying, like, no shame in the game. If there's a team that's like, look, we are in the office 6 days a week and we work 14 hours a day, I love that for you.
And you love that.
Not a fit.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Like, to each his own.
Yeah, it's like finding the right environment, but how do you have those conversations?
That would give me pause, though. And so any leader who might be listening to us right now, if that's the schedule that you operate and you think that your team loves it, you're probably wrong. And they're not
You have
telling
to give
you.
that disclaimer. I was trying to make
Yeah.
it a crazy example, but you were like, no, this is
Oh, no. I know people right now. I know multiple people right now that work for an entrepreneurial organization or an entrepreneur. And we've talked about that in our own office this week of overwork and how those of us that are like, if you want to be a top performer, you want to do what it takes to get approval. You want to meet the goals. You're like, the goal is more important than anything else.
Yeah.
And we work ourselves to burnout.
Oh my God.
Raising hand, right? And so just anybody listening, if you've got a team that they are showing up for Saturday and Sunday calls, they don't like it. Okay. Okay. And if you're
We're
not
doing it because
sure,
you said so.
if you're
Not
not
because they
sure,
really want to be there.
give me a call because you do not have the productivity or the engagement or the focus on your team that you could have if you protected their time better.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard, but we can chat.
There you go. If you're going to burn them, you're going to churn them and you're going to get new ones. And one of the biggest gifts I think that I've received in the last few years is really understanding how to have how to scope and understand capacity around this is what we're trying to do and this is what we actually have time to do. So understanding how to make those things visible and then talk about them, but also how as a leader to really prioritize and to be the shield to say, you know, this is, I know we want to do all this.
Yeah.
This is what let's start here this month. If you finish that and you want to pick up more, great. But doing all this month, if that's just going to leave you with a huge energy hangover and, all these other things, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. It is always a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And we act like we can sprint, we as a society, not you and I, but we act like we can sprint constantly and that it's never going to keep up with us and or catch up with us. And we know our bodies keep the score. We know that we were not designed to operate in stress all the time. We were designed to go up and down. And so just that idea of applying that language, the scientific language, the athletic language, whatever it is, but having that conversation in a way that an audience is really going to hear it. And as leaders that we can shift behaviors and think about our teams and all of that. So I hope that message hits somebody today who needs to hear it.
Yes.
I really enjoyed, well, I didn't enjoy on his behalf, but Brad talking about the experience of playing baseball in college and, finding out that a scout was going to be there, right? And then this story of, hey, and by the way, this is what people say about you that's going to prevent you from getting to the next level. So I went, "Ugh, oh God," and then had the same reaction that you did, along like what helpful information that would have been 3 years ago.
Right.
Like like, what at that point, why even mention it? Like, because those things take time to correct, and
Right.
while, it was certainly a pivot point for him and something that he learned, not only as an athlete, but as a business, somebody working in business, a leader.
Mhm.
Um, it just, man, we're like a little bit too little, too late on the athlete side, and
Yeah.
why bother? Why even bother telling him then? Although I'm glad they did, because there wasn't anything he could do about it, much he could do about it in that moment. But why do we hold back that information? I mean, as much as I'm like, "Oh, feedback is a gift," like, it's corny to say, but why do we hold back information? Data. Just call it data. Don't even call it feedback. Data that can be helpful for somebody to look at that data and go, "Do I want to change my behaviors based on this information?"
Yeah.
And that, he talked a bit about the depersonalization, but just, oh
Right.
gosh, why do we do that? Why do we do
Well,
that? If you
I
really like somebody, then you are
yeah.
not helping them by not telling them the thing that everybody seems to know.
Yeah. Well, and so if you really like somebody, that being a premise. And I've been tossing about this idea a little bit myself with working with a leader and a person who reports to them, and they've historically not given feedback to this person, and now it's critical that they get feedback in order for this person to grow.
Mhm.
So it's changing habits. Right? And there's this sense that I don't wanna hurt this person's feelings. So there is a I think there's a I like this person, I respect this person, I appreciate this person. And I think sometimes it's our ego of it's hard to do. Like a lot of us don't like giving bad news. We're afraid to hurt
Mm,
this person, right? So there's this retraining of the brain. But I wonder if sometimes it's more complex. Like
say more.
if there is, maybe I'm threatened by this person, and if this person gets better and grows, why do I need to be here? That
Yes.
is there an inherent threat to us of developing
Mhm.
people if we stay stuck in that mindset of there's only so much leadership to go around, and if I help somebody else take some, then how am I relevant? It's like when you start learning to delegate
Yeah.
and you're like, "I can't delegate this stuff, what am I gonna do?" Is that limited, fixed mindset, scarcity perspective, and it made me
I'm laughing because I'm like, bless the people who have that thought. What am I gonna do? Like, no, don't. You got stuff to do.
but I did that. Remember? I shared that with you when you were
I know, and you have plenty to do.
I've absolutely but it's the next. I know, but it's the next level. Like, the sense of if I give this away, then but it's that if we find ourselves in that spot, then we don't have a vision for what we want to accomplish as leaders. So then, all right, so yeah, you're starting over in a way.
Yeah.
It's next level.
It's
It's
true.
leveling up. Okay, now I've got to do some stuff I haven't done before that I don't maybe know how to do. Hey, noticers, if you're dreaming of glowing, healthy skin, you must try Hana Azul Korean skincare. Myung Chong has been transforming skin for 27 years with facials so good, they create the Hana Azul glow. I've been going to her med spa for years, and my skin looks better than ever. Her products use medical grade ingredients that truly nourish your skin and keep it radiant. Visit hennaazul.com to explore her amazing products and services. That's HANNAISUL.com. Now go get your glow.
Well, and as it relates to the feedback conversation too,
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you're shining light on is also what if that is conscious? What if that is subconscious,
Yeah.
unconscious? That we do that maybe that is the thing behind it, but the
Mhm.
person's not aware of it. And then so
Yeah.
you're pulling back those layers and going like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is the thing. Where this is where we need to work, right?
Right.
This is where we need to work on you so that you
Mhm.
can then help this other person."
Yeah. Yeah. And, it'd be interesting to say and this is probably a training we need to put together. What are the factors that keep us from giving feedback?
Mhm.
Lack of awareness that feedback is needed. right? So like some basics, like I'm not observing this person, or I don't have metrics in place. We don't know what the bar is. So I can't tell somebody if they're meeting the bar or not.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
I'm not slowing my roll enough to pay attention. I'm too busy. I'm not acting as a shepherd or a leader of my team. We could probably say 4 to 5 things. It's like, if you find yourself not giving feedback, check and see if any of these reasons are why.
Yeah.
You are jealous and have a scarcity mindset, that there's not enough for everybody, and so you need to keep people in their place.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many different ways that you can dig into it, right?
Yeah.
There's the individual element, right?
Yeah.
Is there trauma there,
Mhm.
whether it's in work or outside of work, as far as like bad experiences that I've had or bad things that happened to me related to feedback
Yeah.
that I have carried forward and I'm hanging on to, again,
Mhm.
maybe subconsciously,
Right.
around that it's not safe to give feedback,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Yeah. And, most organizations operate in that way. It's not safe. I don't wanna give it, and I don't wanna hear it.
Mm,
Even though we've got these structures around annual performance reviews. I mean, how many people do we know that we've worked with, they're ready to fire somebody, and that person doesn't know there's a
right.
problem? That
That
is
people looks great. The roof looks amazing.
So it happens all the time, and is it,
Right.
a combination of these factors. But yeah, one of the and to give Brad credit where credit is due, to have had that question himself and then said, "You know what? I've gotta use it anyway." There's no like, this could have been impactful for me in a much different way, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna use it to my benefit and to everybody's benefit for the long term.
We're just thinking of like, the wedding singer, right? Like, could have used that information yesterday, right? Which is like, I need to marry you. She left him at the altar. We're always here for movie quotes. Yeah, I mean, the information came when it came, and so impactful because then outside of even that baseball career, right? This
Mm,
idea of taking emotions out of decisions
yeah.
and teaching himself to do that to the point
Mhm.
where I don't know if you characterize it as a strength, but certainly that others that work with him don't see that side of him, because that's
Absolutely.
something that he learned. And I love Brad because he's just like, I'm not going to be the one to write the book, and I'm like, but could you write the book? Because the people that I want to learn from are the people that had a hard time with something and then figured it out. They're the ones that have
Right.
the best tips,
That's right.
right? Not the person who's naturally good at something.
Yeah.
Like, great, you're gifted. I'm not. So
Right.
I want to hear from the overcomer. So I think for
Mm,
him to say that he took that feedback and really mastered it, turned a corner, and it's supported him as far as he sees losses differently.
mm,
He looks at things as a way to do better. And
yeah.
I don't know that I'm quite as emotional as he was describing, but I think I can see moments of that in myself for sure. And I just
Absolutely.
love hearing those stories of give me, I'm like, break it down. Give me operationalize it for me. How
Yeah.
did that kid?
Mhm.
And I'll take notes. So Brad, I'm here for the book. That if you want
I also here for the
YouTube
growth.
video, whatever you wanna do. If you just
That's
wanna
right.
give us your tips, we would love to hear it.
I love that.
But he's so humble too. That was the word that kept coming to mind as I was listening. It's humble leadership.
Absolutely. And super team oriented,
And teamwork.
right? It's what it and back to his point around looking for people who have motivation and have drive. Often people can learn that, can learn in many environments. A sports team is one of the ways to do it. And that's been formative for his approach, is what do we accomplish together as a team? How do we have that team mindset?
Yes.
And I see that in how he works with his team.
And that idea of like the team gets the credit, right? Like it's not about an individual getting the credit. And so if everybody is operating under that mindset
Mhm.
and really there for that greater good, how does that shift the approach versus I am out to make this about me or for me to stand out and I want the credit and me. How does that impact how I'm interacting with others? So just
Yeah.
pulling those people in and then setting that standard of that culture of,
Mhm.
yeah, this is how we're going to approach it. And just a very healthy attitude, it sounds like, around this idea of losses as ways to learn, losses as ways to get better and faster.
Yeah.
I always use like the failed experiment language, right? Like there's no, oh, I screwed this up or whatever. It's more, this was the experiment.
Mhm.
this is the result of the experiment, and then what do we do with that data? I'm not a super sciencey person, but I do think that there is something to depersonalizing a bit and talking in that language of experiments and here's the data and what is the data telling us and then how do we move forward versus in that personal space of I screwed up, I'm not good enough, I can't do this. Like
Yeah.
that just keeps us stuck, right?
Yeah. I'm devastated by it, right?
Mhm.
The using these metaphors and analogies, and I actually can't remember the difference between those 2, so I need to look that up. But using these reference points that help us shift how we're thinking about a certain topic, usually that we get emotional about. And you mentioned, like, thinking logically, thinking rationally, removing the emotion. It's like these different ways of thinking, innovating around how we perceive something is such a key to growth and getting outside of where we've boxed ourselves in. And that's what corporate athlete does, right? That's what,
Right.
hey, this is an experiment. This is play. There's a whole field of science now around play as a
Right,
way of
science of
learning.
play.
Yes, not just for kids, which we know that to be true, but for adults too. And what if we try this? And what if we experiment with that and running pilots and not locking ourselves into this is a zero sum game, you win or you lose.
Mhm.
And I think, that's part of our philosophy at Collective Growth and in our optimal leadership program is the art of falling.
Yeah.
And that
We
if
love the art of
we
falling.
love the art of falling, and this was part of a coaching conversation yesterday, that if we win at everything we do, if everything we do is a success, we're probably not going for big enough stuff.
Mhm.
And that is like we grow up and we go through our K-12 and our secondary education that I should succeed at every single thing I do. And, sometimes there's a we're not putting in the effort. Not see that I'm even stats in undergrad. Um, but many times it's that we're not stretching ourselves. We're setting
Right.
the bar a little too low because we want the accolades
Yeah.
instead of going for something. And that's part of the 10x is easier than 2x philosophy of how we are leveling up is by shooting for something that's actually impossible. And that whole like shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll end up on the stars. I mean, that's so cheesy, but it's true.
Just reading the inspirational poster next to her. No, it's not.
Right.
It's a kitten in a tree saying, "Hang in there." No.
Right. Thank goodness. I know
But
we did.
it is true, and then how are we even we talk a lot about we're both in that parenting season, right? So, even how are we setting our kids up for that experience of failing, of resilience, of things being harder, of the bar moving,
Yeah.
of failing at greater and greater things, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
even going into the school year where for the first time we're choosing level of classes and all of that, and it's like, let's go for the hard ones because I
Yeah.
don't want you to have the experience I had of I wasn't really super challenged until maybe college.
Yep.
And that's a rough time to be figuring out how to not learn things easily and to experience
Mhm.
that. And so how
Yep.
do we experience that sooner and how do we just build those habits early on so that we can use them all through our lives? A lot of us as adults are just having to learn things now because they weren't a thing and they weren't spoken about or talked about when we
That's
were
right.
coming up.
Mhm.
And so it's shifting that conversation to say, let's build those skills earlier.
Yeah. It's changing our lives now as adults,
Oh yeah.
and we're using it in our child rearing. We were just talking about that earlier
Mhm.
today. It takes discipline and it takes being committed to a different way of thinking and supporting our kids, but maybe they'll go farther faster.
Right. Exactly. Um, one eh, one other thing, I just have to give it a shout out because I'm a fan. I just wish that more people said, no assholes like Brad did.
Yeah. Yeah, and define that, like, that
It's just like, yes.
yeah, yes, yes.
That should be a rule.
That's right.
Just make a
Well,
rule.
I remember, and listeners in Fort Worth will remember this, when JPS, it was probably 10 or 12 years ago,
Mhm.
did a new, set of values for their
Yeah.
organization. One of them was "Don't be a jerk." And they defined what a jerk was. And having that clarity, like, we're standing here talking, and we just talked about "Don't be a jerk," and you're doing that thing. We can be like,
Right,
"Don't be"
being able to point to it and be like, "This
yeah.
is
"Oh, don't be a jerk."
literal."
right?
Jerk behavior that we're not.
That's setting group agreements, right? And being able to be aligned around group behaviors.
Yes. Well, in this world of, and even the space where he works, which I understand is unique in terms of the relationship orientation, the people orientation, that clearly like special place, right?
Very
Special culture.
Yeah.
But uh, we have both been working long enough to have seen a lot of that shift from, it doesn't matter how so and so behaves because they're delivering X, Y, and Z,
Yeah.
towards, okay, well, it's what you do and how you do it, and seeing more and more accountability there. And I'm sure it's all over the map in terms of different organizations, how much they're buying into that idea and living into that idea. But I love, we are human beings that are learning and growing on this journey. And so one of my most frustrating things would be when people are kind of like, I am who I am. Right. And I maybe have said this on here. I am who I am. This is who I am. I've accepted myself. And I'm a firm believer that you can radically love and accept yourself and want to be aware of the things that you're working on and want to grow and be better. And just that, it's just another form of fixed mindset to say,
Right.
oh, yeah, I am who I am. This is
Uh-huh.
who I am.
Right.
And that's an excuse for any form of behavior.
And ultimately, it's hurting you, right? It's hurting your ability to impact the world, be joyful, be content, so
Yeah.
totally.
And what a bummer that you've reached up to this point in your life or your career before somebody has said, like, actually, it is not just these results you deliver, it's how you go about it. And
Right.
well, for you that you're hearing this for the first time, but we can't brush it off and just say, like, oh, it's fine because I deliver. And it's fascinating to see what that looks like when people are confronted with it, as far as who's going like, whew, this is a pivot moment. I'm going to take it in. And who's going, I think I'm going to leave this organization and go work over here where maybe they won't call me out on it.
Wherever you go, there you are. Like you are gonna reach this point, and you're gonna take your issues and your struggles and your trials everywhere you go with you. So good luck.
Ruth.
Yeah. All right. Amazing.
Time for year.
We did a good job. We broke it down. And we'll have to ask Brad. Did we break it down appropriately? What were your?
I know. Was that a good breakdown for you? You can score it.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you, Karen, for going back through the Brad Wallace episode and helping to break it down. We'll see you next time, everybody.
My pleasure.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.